Now we'll hear about very interesting topic we always want to talk about. This is newsprint demand and supply. To chair the session, we have Mr. Ingi Olafsson joining us from Iceland. Ingi is the director of World Printers Forum, and you all heard about Ingi yesterday. We all saw him, so I don't have to introduce Ingi again. With his warm words, I hand over the session to Ingi for this topic. Over to Ingi. Unmute, yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Magdum, and congratulations on this great conference here you're having. Our last speaker today is Anu Ahola. She is the Senior Vice President of Newsprint and Retail Customers at UPM in Finland. She will speak about newsprint supply and demand, global and Indian perspective. A little info about Anu. Anu is a WAN-IFRA's World Printers Forum board member, and we're really proud of having her on the board. She joined UPM in 2007, being responsible for strategy creation and implementation processes and paper business groups strategy development. Prior to joining UPM, she worked for Nokia and Poiri. I hope I said that right, Anu. Anu Ahola has master's degree in technology from Helsinki University of Technology and the MBA from Helsinki School of Economics and Business Administration. I encourage you all to post questions in the Q&A sections in our set, in the events there, and I know you will enjoy this presentation. The floor is yours, Anu. You're muted.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, we can
hear you. Is it okay? Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you, Ingi, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was already introduced by Ingi, so I don't need to introduce myself, I guess, anymore. But hey, by the way, would you like to put my presentation on? Yes, as said already by Ingi, I will talk about newsprint demand and supply from global and Indian perspective. I have to say that when looking at Indian COVID figures and COVID situation currently, I feel that you have much bigger challenges than newsprint demand and supply. But since I was asked to talk about this, I will talk about this. If you go to next slide. At least I see the slide in a very bad way, so it's not readable. I hope that the rest of the audience is seeing it with better quality. So just one slide about UPM and UPM paper business. We are big in paper, and we are very committed to paper business as well. We have about 200 years of experience in paper business, and currently we have 14 modern mills in Europe and North America. About 7 million tons of capacity and around 8,000 people working for us. And when it comes to newsprint alone, the capacity is around 1.8 million, and all that capacity is actually in Europe, namely in Germany, Finland, Austria, and the UK. So that's about UPM and UPM paper business, but let's go to the demand worldwide. In the past years, the demand in the world has been declining with the rate of around 7% per annum. And that is the rate that we have experienced in Europe. But then if you look at China or if you look at North America, there the decline has been much faster. Whereas then if you look at Asia or India, in India the rate has been about half of the decline of the world. And we all know that this decline is driven by digitalization. Digitalization that is driving the changes in consumer readership habits and advertising mix, and also the publishing and the distribution technologies. And we also know that in addition to the fact that the rate of decline of print or rate of increase in digital is varying a lot between the countries, it also varies a lot within a country. And a typical trend there has been that the national news, national titles have been declining much faster than the regional ones. And I guess that is the situation also in India, where the English-speaking national titles have experienced more challenges than the regional titles with different languages. Now, of course, the story of newsprint demand in 2020 has been dramatic. Now, the indication of this year's demand decline from a global perspective here indicated by 17%, but who knows at the end of the day how much it will be. But anyway, much more dramatic than that it has been in the past. And the decline has been correlating quite well with the severity of the pandemic situation and with the severity of lockdown actions that then different countries have been taken. But also in some countries, demand decline mitigated by the fact that newsprint supply and newsprint publishing has been considered to be a critical element in the country, so that people can get the news, and that's why all of the demand or all of the lockdown actions have been related then to newspaper publishing in print. Now the situation in India in 2020 is different versus in the past, whereas in the past demand decline has been much more moderate than in the world in total. In 2020, we are expecting to see a higher demand decline than in the world, with an estimate of well over 20% in 2020. If you go to the next slide. Well, the demand has been declining in the world, but so has the capacity. Here you can see the development between 2016 and 2019, and at the same time when the demand has been declining by 4.5 million tons, the capacity has been declining by 5 million tons. And this is expected to continue because I believe that only profitable and sustainable capacity will stay. We still have over 200 paper machines producing newsprint in the world, and of those, about 100 are with a capacity of over 100,000 tons per year. And so it is all about the long-term competitiveness of costs and sustainability. And this is, of course, driven by both internal and external factors. One thing that has also accelerated recently the exit possibilities or exit opportunities for especially newsprint producers is the better prospects in the packaging area, and then the fiber scarcity that is prevailing in the world. Meaning that in some of the cases it has been possible to sell the newsprint machines for packaging use, and that is naturally facilitating the exit decisions. This has especially happened in Europe and North America. But different companies have been having very different strategies to drive the change in the industry. If you go to the next page, here you can see the capacities of the top 10 producers in 2014 and 2020. And in the 2020 slide, you also see with gray bars the indication of capacity changes that have been announced as plans quite recently. You can, by brief look, already see here that different companies have been reducing capacity, have been taking capacity actions with the very different amounts, resulting in a situation that if you compare 2014, 2020 to 2020 situation, in 2020, the capacity is already much more fragmented than what it used to be some years ago. Now, one case example of UPM strategy in the whole communication papers. So as I said, we are very committed to this business, and in order to be committed, we are very focused on driving the long-term cash flow from our business. And that is really long-term cash flow, not quarterly, not monthly cash flow. We are talking about years and years to come. And just an example there, for the past 5 years, we have been able to generate a cumulative free cash flow of very close to 2 billion euros, which is then over 2 billion USD. Our fundamental belief is that we need to have efficient and modern assets and very high asset utilization, tight grip on costs, broad product portfolio, and also broad geographical footprint, and of course commercial focus on everything that we do. And by having these kind of principles, in addition to generating the cash, or maybe exactly due to the fact that we have been addressing the capacity, the deliveries, the fixed cost, we have been able to generate the cash flow. But as you can see, our deliveries have been declining less than paper demand, and our fixed costs have been scalable almost by the amount of deliveries going down. And of course, this is very much due to the fact that we have been adjusting our production capacity to the available demand. However, we have not been forgetting our people, and please don't go to this one. I'm still on the previous slide. On the right-hand side, you see just an example of our safety records. Our OHS figures have been coming dramatically down, meaning that we have been, while doing all these changes, we have been keeping very high safety standards for our people. But then maybe back to newsprint and global newsprint flows more in general. If you go now to the next page. As you can see in this picture, showing the demands and capacities of different regions, and also the flows between the regions, you can clearly see that the newsprint is very local business. In general terms, we are talking about very local business, and there India actually is an exception. Indian demand is supplied by more than half, about 60%, by imports. you go now to the next slide. One characteristics of Indian market is that the supply is very volatile. Here you can see the sources of the supply and the fact that the biggest blocks are from domestic, from Russian and North American companies. And especially when it comes to domestic supply, when it comes to Russian supply, it has been very volatile, those two blocks are responsible for the majority of the volatility in absolute terms. Maybe you go to the next one. If the supply has been volatile, so have been the prices, and even more so. Here you can see with the orange lines, you can see Indian prices in dollars and in euros, but of course dollars are telling more. And just as a reference, European price fluctuations with the blue line there. And especially in recent years, the volatility in India has been huge. Not too long ago, we were reaching about $800 per ton, whereas currently we are at around $350 per ton. And I think that in this picture also you can see the different nature of companies addressing the demand decline overall. Maybe you go to the next page as a summary. So what I wanted to say, so first of all, demand has been declining, and that is no news to anybody. But then in the recent years, the capacity has been declining even more than the demand. The indicative estimate for this year's demand is -17, so dramatically more than in the past. And in the past, Indian demand has been declining half of the rate of the world on average, but then in this year we are expecting clearly above the average rate of decline. Paper companies have had very different strategies in driving the change, and as a result, the fragmentation of supply has increased. Going forward, I still believe that only profitable and sustainable capacity will remain, and there will be enough of profitable and sustainable capacity if we take care of the competitiveness. And one remark is there that the exit possibilities in the recent years have increased for the newsprint producers due to the fact that the packaging has been growing and the fiber scarcity has been there around the world. India market, it's characterized by very regional and language specific differences, very strong dependency on imports, and hence a very volatile supply and market prices. Also, maybe one of the drivers or one of the results, I don't know, we do have quite limited amount of strategic suppliers and buyers in the market. I mean, suppliers, buyers that can really commit beyond one quarter. And at least now, I don't see too many possibilities for changes in the Indian market. I do believe that Indian remains as a transactional market. With the present outlook, I don't see too much possibilities that the volatility would dampen. This was my story, and now I would be ready to take your comments and questions.
Thank you, Anu. Can you see me?
Yes, I see you and I hear you.
Okay, thank you. Very nice presentation, very thorough and well thought out. We have quite a lot of questions here, and if I may take the opportunity to start myself, because I was very interested in the slide where you showed the drop in paper consumption or paper, where you're selling the paper. I saw that China was in lead. It seemed like 12
Yes.
or 15% maybe. Is that because digitization is faster in China, or what's the reason for that?
That is, yes, that is definitely one reason. In many cases, China has been frog leaping in digitalization, and that is a big driver. Now, also one thing there, one sort of specific thing for China is that publishing is one or the other way restricted or guided in the country. So that may also have an impact on the print development.
Okay. So I'll start with the questions then here. With the difference between global capacity and supply slowly declining, where do you see price of newsprint going in the next 1 year? There's almost one capacity cut.
Yeah. Well, you tell me.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing seriously, the only thing when it comes to Indian prices is, as I said, I don't think that the volatility will dampen, and so the behavior both for the suppliers and the buyers in the market, to the extent I see it, is volatile. So hence the prices continue to be volatile.
Okay. Next question, can UPM collaborate with any of our Indian newsprint manufacturers to make Indian newsprint possible?
What does it mean, Indian newsprint possible?
I think they're asking if UPM would be willing to collaborate with some of the Indian paper makers. It seems to be the question.
Well, we have been so far we have been importing to the country, but actually we are a very small player in the country, and I was trying to indicate that also by showing a little bit what our strategy is. So we are long-term committed to the paper business, but with the volatile nature of Indian paper business, you can't make any long-term decisions based on that. So if you look at, for example, the supply chart that I showed, and look at the amount that Europeans in total have been importing to the country, that is not a big share, and UPM is only a small share of that. So really we don't see, certainly we are there if we have sort of enough strategic buyers to work with us, but with the current volatility and with our strategy, it is hard to be long-term with long-term thinking in Indian market. Mm-hmm.
With the decline in newsprint demand, do you see newsprint prices will remain depressed in spite of capacity? Yeah, you kind of answered that.
Yeah, I kind of answered that question.
Yeah, exactly. Is the coronavirus affecting newsprint demand? Is demand shrinking because of newspapers or restructuring?
Yes, definitely. So as I already indicating? Well, if we have been talking 7% per annum decline in the past in the whole world, now this year we are close to 20% decline. So definitely so. A big impact, and very much driven by the lockdown actions of different countries.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about do you think there's less you see here the less of grammage, the 40 grammage? Do you think that see that lessening in the coming years because of the situation? Are the papers still trying to make the lower grammage for their paper, or has that been bring to a halt somehow?
There is a tendency to go to 40 gram in some of the countries, but many of them are not in the 40 gram yet, and in some countries, I mean, even the tendency is not that high. And going, if the question was that would it be going beyond 40 gram, that I have not seen anywhere.
Okay. Is there a danger that the present reduced volumes will not recover, as previous newspaper buyers not now staying at home, get used to getting the news online?
Yeah, that is a very good question, and I wish I knew the answer. But how it has now developed after Q2 was the sort of the big lockdown, and now when the lockdowns have been released, at least somewhat, some of the end users have almost come back to the normal consumption levels. In Europe, we are seeing especially food retail advertising. In Europe, a lot of the newsprint is actually consumed in the retail, so not only in publishing but in the retail. And food retail has been almost recovered to the normal levels. But then on the other extreme, in some countries where people where there has not been a subscription-based newsprint model even before, and people have been already more used to digital news, especially free digital news. That tendency has increased in those countries during the lockdown, quite naturally, and in those cases, I don't think that the full recovery is possible. But huge variation between the end users between the countries, and too early to conclude any figures.
I feel that quite a lot of the digital outlets have put up paywalls during the pandemic. So you're seeing more and more paywalls.
That is true, and some of them have been very successful.
Yes.
And of course, that is very encouraging, for the publishers. But then during these times, it has been very visible that if a country is very much subscription based, print subscription, is it print subscription or a digital subscription of both? There has been much more sort of staying on the print.
Okay.
Because then, especially in some countries, even as I said, getting the news print has been considered to be a critical thing in the countries, so that make sure that people are getting the COVID news. So right. Those countries, of course, have stayed there.
Have you had to close down any manufacturers? Any plants because of COVID? I mean, or do you
No. Yeah, a good point. That is something that I didn't talk about. So we, and I would say that big time, the whole, at least Western world manufacturers, we have not been, the whole supply chain has not been affected at all by COVID. So this has been a demand change for us, no problems whatsoever regarding the supply.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much, Anu, for giving us the time and answering all these questions. It's been a great presentation and great insights as always. I want to use this opportunity to remind everybody in this conference now that we have the World Printers Summit taking place at the end of October, from the 27th to the 29th of October. And we would really like to see you all there, virtually, of course. And I will hand the baton over to Maktoum, who will finish this. Thank you for a very good conference. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ingi. Thank you, Andrew.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And what a fantastic way to finish our conference on talking about newsprint and all the scenarios that we are likely to see. I think we started the day yesterday with a keynote on how the Nine Publishing has restructured their business, and then how they keep the longevity of the print going. And then we also we heard about how do we manage post-pandemic production, and then we learned about lean production, and also interesting lesson from other industry, from automotive industry, and then today from Big Basket and so on. And it was a fantastic 2 days of conference. I'm sure you all had a very interesting learning, and you take back good memories. Though, okay, of course, we all miss to see you. It could have been a fantastic 2 days get together in in hotel in Chennai, but we missed that. But I'm happy to see that more than 325 people have logged in yesterday and today, for almost for every session. Even for the last session, I see close to 200 people virtually staying online. Thank you for all your support and attention. I'm sure that we'll all see good times back, and then we'll all see you in person soon. Please look for more workshops and then other program for print production and technology managers coming soon. And then with this, we come to the end of the program. And I'd like to thank all the attendees and all the speakers for their fantastic session, and also our exhibitors today, PPI and Newstech, who participated in the virtual exhibition. And thanks to my colleagues. It would have been not been possible without their support. My colleagues, right from a Frankfurt office, Charmaine and Kirsten, from Singapore, Leong, my colleagues in India, Suresh, Vijayalakshmi, Jay Ganesh, Prabhu, you all pitched in to make this happen. It went off smooth, and all our speakers came on time. That is really, really, I mean, very touching. And then, we are happy that it went the way it has to be. And please fill up your feedback forms. We will send it to you by email. I request your feedback so that we could develop and change, improve our services next time. I look forward to see you all again. And then I wish you good days, and then see you again soon. Signing off, Maktoum from office in Chennai. Bye-bye.